And we are live. Welcome to the Zerocool Podcast. I'm DJ Zerocool, aka Parker. A couple things I want to go over before we get started. If you have not yet checked it out, the Jägermeister Behind the Shot mix is still up on Mixcloud. You can go to Jägermeister Behind the Shot. They have featured DJs every month. I was the one for April. My kind of like a theme was diversity. So we mashed up things that typically wouldn't go together. I had like Gary Wright versus like Kanye West and Biggie versus like Justin Bieber. It was a lot of fun to do. It's about an hour long. You can go up on Mixcloud and check that out. Jägermeister Behind the Shot. There's another one that was just posted this month. That theme was for Pride. Be sure to check it out, like and follow. Also, if you're on Mixcloud as well, feel free to search up DJ Zerocool. I have old live sets I've done throughout the years. I've been posting. I've been putting more and more up. I'm leaning more stuff towards Patreon, but I put stuff up there just so you guys can take a listen to it while you're cleaning the house, getting ready to go out, so on and so forth. So be sure to check that out. Also, big shout out to the homie Chicago Nick. He has Shadow Personal Training down in Chicago. If you are looking for someone to train with, this is the guy to train with in Chicago. He was one of the trainers over at the world exclusive Equinox, and the dude is just an absolute freak show when it comes to knowing knowledge of what you should be doing for training and working out for MMA, for jiu-jitsu, and for Muay Thai. He is at 2618 Halstead Avenue over in Chicago, Illinois. Be sure to check him out. Welcoming to the podcast, Raufeon Stots. He's in the building. What's going on, brother?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. I'm on cloud nine. It's been an amazing couple months. Been an amazing couple months for me, so I'm excited.
Yeah, that's adjustable. So if you want to pull that towards you and stuff like that, like cool. There's little handles up here so you can adjust it.
Legit, yeah, man. It's legit.
Yeah, like I was saying, prior to or just towards the end of this whole COVID lockdown thing, right around Christmas, like I'd say right around December, I was like, I'm bored. I'm not DJing. I was like, I have some equipment. I was like, let's pop off a podcast, man.
This is legit, man. I'll come in here. I feel like I'm in the studio. I'm ready to spit some bars. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready.
I mean, we can do that. Like during lockdown and stuff like that, I had the turntables up. I was doing streaming and stuff like that. Like it was a blast, man. But it's slowly starting to get to that point where I'm starting to be able to play in front of crowds again. I started doing dates again for June. So being able to get in front of people is getting exciting, and being able to get that feedback. Like there's a weird, like you can practice stuff like streaming and stuff like that, but without like being able to see people nod their heads or like tap their feet or like singing along to what you're doing, it's hard to know what you're doing is working. Where now I'm starting to be able to play in front of crowds again, and I'm like, oh, that works. That works. That works.
Oh, you like that? Okay.
Yeah. I'm like,
I mean, it's pretty much the same thing for MMA. Like if I was to shadow box and stuff, I need that feedback. I need to see somebody like wince their eyes, or I want feedback to know if it's working. So I mean, it makes sense. Yeah. You need people for that energy.
So you've done 2 fights now without the crowd there for Bellator.
3.
Oh, 3. So at the Mohegan Sun?
Yeah, 3. Yeah. 3 of them at the Mohegan Sun. Cass Bell, Keith Lee, and then Josh Hill.
Yeah. How do you like it in comparison? Because you did LFA and you did, was it Ring of Combat as well?
Yeah, I did Ring of Combat, LFA, and Victory FC.
So you had crowds for that.
I had crowds, and I had crowds for the my first Bellator fight, which was in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the crowd is amazing, but for me, the crowd is like amazing for like before and after. Like before the fight starts, you see people getting amped up, and you can feel some energy and kind of get amped up with them. After the fights, you get to meet new people. You know what I'm saying? People who maybe hated you before are your fans and stuff, and vice versa. So then, for me, like during the fight, I don't really notice what's going on outside of the fight. I'm pretty keyed in. As a matter of fact, when I fought in Hawaii against a Hawaiian, like the crowd was loud. I thought they were cheering for me. I thought for some reason, and maybe I'm just big headed, I thought they were cheering for me. But I got out afterwards, and then my wife was like, "Man, the crowd really didn't like you." And I was like, "Oh, for real? Like what? What? I thought they loved me. What?" Yeah. So I obviously don't I don't pay attention enough to like what's going on outside of the ring when it's fight time.
Mm-hmm. I gotta say, man, like doing my due diligence on this, you have probably one of the most fun energy coming in. in between rounds, but it is one of those that you're all business. Do you just do you purposely do that just to stay loose?
Yeah.
You're vibing out. You came out to Roddy Rich Rockstar and you're
hey, for me, the fight time, and that's why I love to fight. So fight time is the best time. You know what I mean? I'm only fighting 15 minutes. You know what I mean? The training is hard. I train hard. I push my body and I push myself to the limit. So the fight is fun to me, and I fight better. I feel better when I'm loose. I feel like I see more, and loose is fast, loose is quick. So I like that type of vibe. I don't like to be clinched up and really mad. I feel like I perform better when I'm loose, when I'm dancing, when I'm having fun, so that's the kind of vibe I like keeping.
Yeah, I was up early this morning and I was watching some of the old fights, and I think it was the Hill fight. I was just like, wait, am I catching an echo again? Oh, you know what? I know what that is. Randon, can you turn the volume down on the computer? It's the far right-hand side. No. On the keyboard. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Oh, maybe it was the iPad. I keep hearing an echo, and it's driving me nuts.
You OCD about it?
Well, I number one,
I don't notice it at all.
Well, I notice it for myself because I can hear it, and then it's a second delay where I'm hearing myself.
So
I'm like,
again.
And it screws with me because I can hear myself, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, is that what I sound like? Anyway, man, where was I going with this? I totally lost my chain of thought.
The Hill fight.
Dude, you're totally vibing out in between. They're dropping 50 Cent, and you're like,
yeah, that song is pretty cool.
Kush and Duke are talking to you, and you're just like, yeah. I was like, I don't know anyone who else has got that kind of energy in between
right?
rounds, man.
In a fight, which that's probably a weird thing to be in such an intense situation, and but it calms me down. I feel like too, it kind of it messes with my opponents, which is a bonus. But for me, it's this is fun to me. The fight time is really fun to me. So, I'm a rock out. I'm a jam
You know
out.
what? That's got to be crazy, too. You brought up a really good point where I'm like, dude, if I saw you across the cage from me, and you're just vibing out, and I'm out of breath, I'm like, this
I gotta punch this guy harder or something. What's going on? Yeah. And I see that. I see that a lot in my opponents. When you feel like you're having fun, it kind of does something to their psyche. And, I don't mind it.
I gotta say before we go even further, congratulations on child number 2 now.
Whoo! I'm a daddy of 2, which is crazy to me. I always see myself. I'm like, oh, little Raufeon. You know what I'm saying? Just wading through life. Beating up people every now and then. But now I'm a father of 2. I'm a married man. we got a house, kids. It's crazy. I'm 2 healthy boys. Which I'm super happy about, and it's just crazy. How fast stuff happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let me ask you something. Being a father of 2 now, does that change how you fight now? Do you fight with a little more passion because of the fact that, you got kids at home, you got a wife at home, you got a mortgage, you're planning for your retirement? Does that weigh on you at all? Or is it just out of sight, out of mind?
So part of my motivation is that, you know what I mean? So, while I'm fighting, that's kind of in the back burner. But part of my motivation to get up to get in the zone is that, and I listened to a song by, why am I blanking on his name? T Grizzly, T Grizzly. And it's I'm a win or win or something like that. And, one of the verses, look at me in my eyes, I'm a win. I'm gonna get this bread. I gotta live or something like that. And it's without me, my family wouldn't have food. Anybody going against me gotta lose. You know what I mean? And I take that to heart. Man, I am the breadwinner in my house. Somebody is out here pretty much trying to take food off of my kids' table. We've been through a lot. My wife and I and my family, they deserve a lot. You know what I mean? They support me through a lot. I'm gone a lot. So yeah, I can't let this guy come in here and take this from them. You know what I mean? So it definitely weighs on me before the fight. During the fight is a little different because I'm kind of focused on the task at hand. But I like to, that's the backstage when I'm kind of getting up, warming up, finding my reason why I want to go and beat this guy up. That's part of it.
Do you find that music helps you a lot for getting ready, getting your head right? Like for me, like the one that always sticks out was it was on, I think it's on Obi Trice's Cheers album. It was Obi Trice, 50, Lloyd Banks, like the whole G Unit crew, and like I remember 50, was it 50 dropped it? I forgot who dropped the verse, but it was like there was just some hard lines in there where like 50's like, you better fear me like you fear God because I bring death. And like I hear a line like that and I'm like, ooh, I just want to jack someone up.
So and definitely like music, I feel like amplifies my feeling. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it just, music definitely. If it'd be weird for me, like thinking back, like it's not a time or like before a fight or even like getting ready for a fight. You know, I feel like music is like a part of that. It'd be very weird for me to like prepare for fights without music. You know what I mean? It's a big part of, you know, me at least like warming up, you know what I'm saying? Putting me in a state of mind, relaxing me, getting me amped up at the right time. I feel like music plays a huge part.
Is there like for you, is there like there's almost like not like a meditation, but like a calm before the storm where like maybe you go through like Spotify and you're like this track, and you put that playlist together and then you're just like, all right, Kush, Duke, let's warm up, let's hit some pads, got some music just banging in the background, and then all of a sudden just pop and you just feel that rhythm. Is it the same for you that way?
Yeah, so for me, like usually when I'm going to the venue or wherever we're going, we start out, we get there, it depends on during these quarantines. This last fight, it was like a little fast, but usually we get there, we kind of get unpacked, I start warming up. Sometimes Kush or sometimes Duke will play some reggae, you know, sometimes I'll play some just like somber music, like some Chance the Rapper or something like kind of meditative, like slower music, you know what I mean? So I'll kind of stretch out and you know, I'm not like rushing, but I'm like laying down, get my hands kind of wrapped, you know, warming up, getting relaxed, and then I start like picking up the playlist a little bit, so I'll play like a little 2 Chainz, you know, or something to like get me like, you know what I'm saying, going a little bit. And so then I'm like, I'll shadow box and stuff on my own, and then I'm like getting in the headspace, get my gloves on and stuff, and then I'm starting to play like some bangers, like I'm starting to play some what's his name? I'm blanking again. But yeah, I'm starting to play some banger, the baby. I'll play the baby, and then like I'm really banging now. Then I'm like, Kush, you know, somebody come in, let me hit something, let me let me get up. And I try to stay because I don't like to like have a full on workout, so I'll probably go like 2-3 minutes, you know, where I'm like intense, and then I'm calming down. You know what I'm saying? To kind of imitate like what I'm going to be doing, you know, during fight time. I'm going to fight for like 5 minutes, and then I'm going to relax and get my heart rate down and get ready to go again, you know, to recover. And then, so I'll do that. And then pretty much after I've done that a couple of rounds, I'll stay kind of hyped, but then it's like, then that's when I'll get my motivational music on. So I'll play like that T Grizzly, like I gotta win. I'll play, what's the other one I play? But yeah, anything that like I feel like gets me like in the headspace of like I gotta go get this, like this is mine. I gotta go take this. I gotta seize this opportunity type stuff, you know. So I'm playing those types of songs.
Hells yeah, man. You know, it's unique that there's some parallels between DJing and between fighting. Like for me, like, you know, when I'm getting ready for a gig, I'm going through my music. I'm kind of picturing the night in my head.
So do you play music to like hype you up for like events to DJ?
Like I'll go through and I'll find like new tracks, and like my first 30-45 minutes is I want to do a blend of new and old school. I want to test out new stuff on a crowd that's there that's just hanging out. Like no one's expecting me to throw heat at, you know, at exactly 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So for the first 30 minutes, 40 minutes, it's me playing new tracks. I want to see if people move to, if they hear it for the first time and they hear it on a sound system, does this make them move?
Yeah.
And it's me kind of doing a quick outline of what my first 45 minutes are going to be like. Cause I purposely plan it out that way where I'm like, I want to do some new, I want to do some old, because if the new stuff isn't working, I want some old school joints there that get people being like, oh yeah,
I'm familiar.
this.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's okay. I'm going to start transitioning into the regular part of my night where it's like, okay, I want to start shifting gears. I want to go from opening set to like, okay, I'm starting to build the room up. Like I want to start I want to start pushing people into the dance floor. I want to keep things fun. And where am I going with this energy? Am I going to do like, am I in a lounge? Am I going to keep things kind of chill where I'm a background noise for like people drinking, being on a date night? Or am I in a college venue where, okay, I got to play all the hits. These kids want to be hype. Like I got to throw heat.
Rage,
yeah. Like right before the quarantine and stuff, like, or I should say before the city kind of went back into lockdown again, one of the coolest things was the fact that my girlfriend came to one of my gigs and she was like, honey, there's a line down the block. She's like, I was trying to surprise you. She's like, I couldn't even get in. She's like, can you come out here and get me?
I'm here, please.
So like, I literally put like a 3-minute song on. I ran outside, pulled her outline, pulled her up, and we're up in the balcony and I'm playing. And she was like, this is insane. She's like, I didn't know like it was like this. And then like, it's a college age venue. So she's seeing all these like college kids, like 21 to like 28 kids, 28-year-olds.
Yeah.
That demographic. And I'm just throwing straight heat at them all night. And then what I like doing is I like throwing the what the fuck out there.
Yeah.
Like I played the Killers, Mr. Brightside in the middle of the night. And like, it's one of those that like, I can tell on how I build into that song, like how a crowd will react. Like I'll cut the song and I'll let the crowd sing it like it's a goddamn concert, dude.
That's what's up.
And she's like, they know this? And I was like, dude, who doesn't know Mr. Brightside, man?
Right?
But it's so much fun. But like, it goes back to what I was saying, where it's like, I picture that stuff out in my head ahead of time, where it's like, and that's where the parallel is that, I sit right where Randon is and I got my laptop open and I'm lining everything up. I'm like, okay, I want to do, I don't know, some Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? That's kind of like a trap beat. It kind of sounds like this 2 Chainz song too. So like, I'll be like, okay, we're gonna go here, we're gonna go here, and I'm kind of like, and it's an outline, but it's not something I stick to. Yeah. So like, I'll see something in the crowd or I'll hear something, I'll be like, oh, it reminds me of this song.
Yeah.
This will transition great. They're in the same key.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you'll see it and you're like, people will be like, oh, like especially certain rooms. Like, I don't know if it's the same for you, where it's like,
I feel like what you talking about is like my flow state. Like I got a plan, I got a game plan, you know what I mean, overall or whatever. Nothing is specific because things change, people change.
Exactly.
People do different, things. But I got a flow state. So like if you throw a wrench on the Western Ape, I'm flowing with that, but then I'm right back on my, you know what I mean? I'm pushing you toward what I want to do, eventually. So I feel like, yeah, you're right. There's a lot of parallels.
Especially with what you were saying, there's a lot of parallels. And I felt, I was like, dude, I got to share a little information there.
That's dope.
Let me ask you this. You are a 2-time All-American wrestler, a Division II wrestler. You could have left college. You could have done whatever you wanted to. You chose MMA. Like, number one, explain going from high school, going to Kansas, going to Nebraska, and kind of walk me through. In high school, did you start wrestling? Middle school, did you start wrestling? I know there's a lot there, but let's start middle school, high school. Let's start with the wrestling part of it.
Yeah.
How did you get started in wrestling?
Yeah, so I actually started wrestling. I started wrestling technically it was like my junior year in high school. So it was the sophomore year of my or the summer of my sophomore year. Or actually no, the sophomore year of my the summer of my sophomore year, I got introduced to like Greco and freestyle wrestling, and I just went to like a couple of practices. I didn't really pick it up, but I like met some people and I did it for like a couple weeks. And then that junior year, I went to school and my coach was my science teacher, and he was giving out like free quiz grade points for like to come out for the wrestling team. So you would get like free quiz grade points, and I needed them at the time. So I went to this the wrestling practice, and I was like, I was pretty athletic, and I had played football and basketball. So I was pretty aware of where I should be, like for tackling and stuff. So I was like naturally like decent, you know what I mean? Decent at it. And he told me like, hey man, you should come out, you should try wrestling. And I wasn't like, I was never like the biggest football player. I really like football player, and I was playing on varsity at the time. But I wasn't, I knew I didn't know if that was going to be my avenue to college. I didn't know really what I was going to do with it. I was just playing it kind of for fun. And actually, yeah, so then I tried out for wrestling, and I did wrestling. And then so actually the summer of my junior year, so before that, my coach went to my mom's house or whatever, and then she he got her to like agree pretty much for me to come out to the wrestling practices, because she had to pick me up after work or whatever. So I needed to have permission to be there or whatever. So my coach came to my house and was like, "Hey, we think he's gonna be really good. Do you mind him coming to these practices?" And she was like, "I mean, I don't really know nothing about wrestling, but I guess if you say, he's okay, I'll support it." And so yeah, I wrestled that year, and I ended up my first year wrestling. I ended up qualifying for state. My first year wrestling, and which was like, it was like a big accomplishment for me, but also my mom had passed my mom had passed that junior year before I had started. So he must have met my mom the summer of my sophomore year. Mm-hmm. And so my grades and my everything pretty much school-wise that junior year. So I was like in honors classes and stuff like that, like while my mom was living. But then as soon as my mom passed or whatever, I was like, school I really didn't really care about. I was like, what is all this for, kind of, like mad at the world, mad at, pretty much everything. And I started, just not just like totally giving up on school, but I was just like, just going through the motions. I wasn't there mentally, in school. But in wrestling, I felt like it was an outlet where I could pretty much just hurt people, and not get in trouble for it. Mm-hmm. And so, I kind of gravitated to wrestling because it felt good, to like pick kids up and slam them and like be good at something and, just kind of beat people up. So
it focuses you. It's speaking from my own personal perspective, anytime there was struggles, like I'm thinking about the last thing that I went through was, my brother Randon and our grandfather got real sick about 2 years ago, and he was ended up being towards the end. They put him in hospice and stuff like that, and I didn't take it really well. This is someone I've known since it's my my stepfather's dad, someone I've known since I was 8, and someone that was a big part of me. And for me, it was, I just showed up at the gym. I just showed up. I brought like 2 or 3 pairs of shorts, 2 or 3 shirts. I remember at one point, Gerald looked at me. He's like, "Parker, is this the second time you're here today?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going through some shit." He's like, if you want to talk, man. I was like, "Nah." I was like, "If you could hold pads for me, that'd be great." And he's like, "Yeah, sure, man." So for me, it was one of those things that I got out there and I didn't think about it. Mm-hmm. And it was nice because, like, you think about the technique. You think about, if you're going in for a high crotch single, or, what I got to do on this double leg. My head's got to go up, so on and so forth. Or, all right, I'm too close when I'm throwing this right, so I got to take a step back. I got to stay long, so on and so forth. Yeah. Okay, you're sparring with someone. All right, they keep protecting their head. I want to get a piece of that head. You know what? I'm gonna steal a page out of Kristen Rodriguez's book. I'm gonna hit that. I'm gonna work that body. Get them to drop their hands and shit like that. You start thinking about all the technique that you got to do, and it clears your head. And you're not thinking about your grandfather. You're not thinking about everything else that's outside of those mats. And it's, for me, I try telling people this all the time. Like, you got shit you're going through. It's one of the best places it's the best therapy in the world, because it clears your head and you stop thinking about it. The shitty part is that as soon as it's over and you're taking your hand wraps off, or, you're changing, and all of a sudden you're just like,
I got time. You got time to think about it.
Yeah. And then it's like, I'm a little bit better than I was before. But it's a process, though. Yeah. And I totally feel you on that, man. So with the wrestling, then, you just put your head down, got in there, and started grinding it out. Yeah. Were you able to mentally, I mean, that's a lot, losing your mom at a young age like that. Were you able to recover and then rise up?
Yeah. So, like I said, in high school, I feel like that it kept me on the right path pretty much, because my grades kind of fell or whatever. But, I made it to state, but then I wasn't able to go to state because of my grades. So, so I could be better at wrestling. I would be better at, so I could go farther in wrestling. I focus more on my school. You know what I mean? So it helped kind of right the track for me. And then I was going into my senior year, and I know I needed to get like a certain GPA so I can make it or apply for these schools or apply for like scholarships and stuff like that. So wrestling kind of gave me the avenue because coaches were. I had one freestyle state. I placed I think 6th in state, one freestyle in Greco state, and then wrestled like some on the national team and stuff like that. So some colleges were like coming and looking at me and talking to me and stuff. So so that helped me get my grades together and kind of right the wrong. And then just going forward, after I got accepted into I went to a junior college first. I feel like the junior college and kind of where it was kind of in the middle of nowhere. It had one stoplight in Parsons, Kansas. I really had and I was coming from Houston, Texas, which is a pretty big, city. Yeah. And I was like used to, having everybody around me like partying and like having stuff to do all the time. You know what I mean? To this city where there's like nothing literally to do except wrestle, wrestle in school, what I'm here for. So for me, I feel like it kept me on track. It was the right move for me. It kept me on track, and all I did was grind. And I redshirted my first year. Then my second year, my redshirt freshman year, All-American at the junior college level, and then it went on from there. I moved to a Division II or a 4-year college, Division II at the Division II level, and I had a medical injury or a medical redshirt year because I dislocated my elbow the first year. But then after that, everything kind of like the years of work that I had put in at the junior college and what I had put in kind of since I dislocated my elbow. It all, started clicking. Everything started clicking for me because, like I said, I was starting late, so I was like, I was really green to the sport. Like I was really athletic, but I was green to the sport. But I just, I just tried to live it like I was really like I had to be like a sponge to be good because I had to pick up stuff really fast because everybody I have been wrestling since they were like either 4 years old or middle school at least. So I had to pick up stuff really fast. And that helped me. And then at the 4-year college Division II level, I won nationals twice. 2-time national champion. Also, my team around me won nationals twice when I was there. So, that's kind of my wrestling story.
So there's 2 questions that come to mind. Number one, when you were in high school, who's overseeing you then after your mom passes? Who's the one giving you advice, giving you that wisdom? Like, look, you need to keep your grades up. You want to succeed in this. Here's where you want to go. Here's the game plan you want to do. Who's overseeing you at that point?
So that was another thing I feel like that helped me. I had to be very independent. I have 2 younger brothers on my mom's side that are younger than me that I kind of felt like I was responsible for. My aunt and uncle, Shamalita Littleton was my mom's sister, and her husband, Elijah Littleton. They pretty much were overseers of me, but I would they lived like on the other side of town. In a neighborhood or Southeast Houston, in a neighborhood that didn't have wrestling. It was kind of a lower economic area, whatever. It didn't have wrestling. So I would have to commute from there to another one of my aunt's house to be close. And so I would commute from there to my aunt's house during the week so I could drive to the school that had wrestling, which was in Tomball, which was like 45 minutes from her. So, and then I would commute there back and forth during the week. So I would kind of be on my own during the week, commuting back and forth to school, wrestling, coming back. And then during the weekend, I would go to my aunt's house, kind of on the south side of Houston, and kind of reconnect with my brothers and kind of hang out, during the weekend.
That's crazy. So from your junior year on, you're basically flying solo.
Yeah.
And you got people just basically keep an eye on you on the weekend. You're getting up for school on time.
Yep.
You're getting yourself going. You're making sure lunch, dinner, all that stuff's set for you, doing all your own laundry. That's insane.
Yeah. Yep. And I feel like for me, like me being able to go to college and, you know, do a lot of that stuff is because, you know, I had to learn like kind of independence, like at an early age, you know what I mean? And so even like with, I feel like some people, like when they get to college, maybe they get a little wild or whatever, cause they get freedom, you know, they get freedom. Like, oh man, I don't really got to listen to my, dad. Like I don't got nobody in charge of me. You know, I kind of went through that when I was in high school, you know, and I kind of made some mistakes, did some wrong things. But, you know, I learned that independence, that like, there's nobody gonna be, I got no backup plan. Like, you know, my aunt and my uncle, you know, they're supportive, but nobody's your mom and your dad, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They did very well or whatever, but you know, I don't want to put that on, I don't want to put us on them, you know? So I got to make something for, like, I got to make something for us, or, you know, it's kind of a wrap.
So moving on, or moving back to Nebraska now. So you end up in Division II at Nebraska. I mean, you got guys around. So let me ask you this. Kamaru Usman went to Nebraska.
Yep.
Is that someone that you were training with at the time? Is that someone that was a presence there?
Yeah, so Kamaru Usman, you know, I've known actually Kamaru Usman since I was in high school. He was my Team Texas. So when I would go into national level wrestling, he was one of my Team Texas coaches.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I known him, and he's from Texas. He's from Dallas. I'm from Houston. So, and I got paired up with him one time during a practice, and I feel like he wasn't excited about it because he beat the shit out of me. I was like in high school, he was like in college, you know, and he was much bigger than me, but he beat the shit out of me, and it was probably out of love, but I feel like he didn't want to be there because I was like the odd man out, and it was like, hey, Kamaru, go with Raufeon, you know, he ain't got a partner right now, and he beat the crap out of me. But also, like when I went to when I came, I was deciding that I was coming to UNK, the school that he was at. It was during the summer, so I came up during the summer just to kind of get acclimated to the school, and I seen Marty or whatever. I was like, hey, what's up? You know, and Marty, for me, you know, even when I talk to him to this day, he feels like he's my big brother. So he's like giving me advice, you know, on stuff. He's like, hey, you know, like this season, it's a long season. You had the junior college season, but it's a little longer, you know, so you need to be prepared for that. And I'm like, bro, I know. I know. And then he was also like, hey, and hey, you got like food and shit like that, like you got stuff or whatever. And I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, my mom told me to make sure you're all right, because he's also Nigerian, and my dad's Nigerian. So
okay.
Yeah, so his mom was like, can you make sure he's okay? You know what I mean? And she was, and I was like, yeah, like I'm good. He's like, all right, good, cool. You know what I mean? So yeah, so I know Kamaru a lot, or I've known him, you know, forever. He always like messages me after fights and stuff. And yeah, so I didn't wrestle like on a team with him, but like the year he was leaving was the year I came in and kind of took over, you know. But yeah, that was the story.
Who do you watch now, like younger? Like, I don't know if you had an idea of post college that you were gonna go into MMA, but then now who did you watch that you watch and you go, oh, I like how they do this. I like how who are you stealing moves from? Like, we were talking about this off air. Like I watch Rodriguez.
Yep.
I watch him a lot, and I'm like, oh, I like what he did there. And I'm like, no.
Let me get that down. Yeah. Man.
But it's funny though. I'll tell him. I'll be like, yeah, I was watching you spar the other day. I was like, I stole some of your shit.
I got this in my pocket now. Yeah, no.
For me, it's crazy because like I've known Christian since he was like 14, and now I'm like, dude,
he's like a amazing, like complete fighter, like a grown man. You know what I mean?
He came up. He was one of the students there, and it's crazy to watch him like be like a little guy, and you're like, dude, he's in the ring fucking people up.
Yeah. Me and Biggie were actually talking about Christian Rodriguez. God, dog. I call him C-Rock. But yeah, we was talking about Christian the other day, and his ceiling is so high, you know what I mean? And he messaged me and was like, hey man, you really motivated me to, you know, stay motivated. And I was like, bro, if you like stay on the track you're at, you know, your ceiling is so high, it's not gonna be nobody that's gonna be fucking with you, man. Yeah. You are legit, you know what I'm saying? You just stay on the right track and you stay the path. I mean, for people are starting to get the wind of it though, which is a tough part in the place he's at. Like, he's good enough to be in the UFC, but nobody really wants to take the risk to fight him. Like, he's had like 4 people pull out, like UFC vets, like people with good records, you know, because they're starting to realize that he's really good, you know what I mean? But yeah, the sky's the limit for that kid. He keeps investing in himself. The sky's the limit. But as to your point of who I watch, I kind of been stealing, stuff. I've been watching a lot of like one, probably mostly because of TJ or DJ Johnson. Demetrius Johnson. You know what I mean? I steal a lot of stuff from here. I feel like he's like my unofficial, kind of mentor to the game. I watch a lot of his kind of how he carries himself as a martial artist, and just like his style of fighting, is so complete. So, I really try to emulate a lot of his stuff.
He's insanely good. Like I've watched a number of his fights. I remember I think he did it to Cejudo. I can't remember who he did it to, but I remember a point where, man, I want to say he shot in on someone, and like they tried to sprawl, and like he hopped up and armbarred him in midair, and I was like, what the?
That was Taz something. What's his name? Yeah, he took him down, picked him up, and in there midair transition to a,
and I was like, and then what? And they go, he's a white belt in jiu-jitsu. I know, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, that's some
belt.
I was like, that is some like, I was like, where's the wires? I was like, that is some like crazy
outside the box, like nobody's thinking about that type of stuff. That's like truly mixed martial arts, like an art form. Like that was beautiful. You know what I mean?
For someone to watch, he really is a complete fighter. And it was crazy because I just watched one of his fights recently on one, and that was the first time I've ever seen him get stopped. And I think he went on like 13-year win streak where no one could stop him. No one could figure him out, man.
Exactly. And that's what I like about him, because like coming into a fight with Demetrius, there's no like, okay, we get him here and we take him to deep waters and we're gonna beat him, or we take him down and we're gonna beat him, or what I'm saying, there's no really like clear cut way to beat him, and it makes it hard for people. Like if I was fighting Demetrius, it makes it hard to game plan. You know what I mean? It makes it hard to come up with something. I just got to be really good. I got to be really good everywhere. Yeah. So I mean, I like it.
Yeah, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about this, technically he did lose to Henry Cejudo, but
I don't feel like he lost that fight. That second fight, I don't feel like he lost.
I thought he won it.
I thought he did.
Yeah, like there's times where like you see like bad calls and stuff like that in the judges. Do you ever worry about that at all? Like,
yeah, I mean that's always a worry, and that's why I'll try to finish the fight from the beginning of the bell to the West End, or try to like dominate the fight from the beginning of the bell to the end of the bell, because you never know, and that's one of the things that like suck. Like, so the referees will come in the back and they'll tell you kind of what they're looking for, what you can do for them to keep the fight going, or tell you're done for the fight. We never have anything like that for the judges. We don't know who the hell is judging. We don't know what they want, what they deem as more dominant. We don't know if you think takedown is more dominant than damage landed. We don't know those things. So so we don't know what the outcome of a decision would be. So I mean, that's the thing that's like always hard, and that's why I literally don't try to give my opponents like an inch, on anything. You know what I mean? I won't give you a strike to get a strike. I just don't believe it. I don't believe in giving you an inch. I believe it's like always my turn. I'm never giving you a turn to do, anything.
Let me ask you this. So, number one, I love this video when you did this. So, for those of you who haven't seen it, is it on Facebook or is it on YouTube? The one where you had the gloves laid out when you were making a decision on where to go?
Yeah. That's on it's on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay. Yeah. So, if for those of you watching this who haven't seen it, there was Raufeon was trying to decide on where you're going to go to one Bellator or UFC, and you got all the gloves laid out. It's like it was like the college
draft day. Yeah,
you're like, where am I gonna go? And you're like, and all of a sudden you pull out the Bellator gloves. What made you decide Bellator over everyone else?
So part of the reason, they had I had cornered Emmanuel Sanchez, and this was my first time cornering Emmanuel Sanchez, so I had this is my first time being to a Bellator event, you know. My head was kind of just wrapped around the UFC just because, you know, I kind of bought into that, like they're the best organization, you know, type of thing. And so I never even thought about other organizations, you know. My goal was to be the best in the world, so I felt that I needed to be at the UFC to do that. So I never thought about the Bellator, but then I cornered Manuel Sanchez at Bellator, and you know, I was kind of like seeing like how he was treated there, and you know, the production of it, and you know, it was his first tournament fight against Tyron Claxton, and also John McCarty.
McCarthy, yeah.
McCarthy. I keep messing that up.
Big John.
Big John, yeah. Big John came up to me and was like, "Hey, man, I saw a grappling event that you did. I grappled Anthony Burchak, a 10 planted black belt." And
that was the one out in Anaheim, right?
Yeah, in Anaheim.
Yeah,
you was there. Yeah. He said he seen that. He seen that match, and he was like really impressed. He was like, "Man, you beat his ass, man. That was good. If you know, you almost finished him." And I was like, "Oh man, thank you." He was like, "Yeah, man, when you gonna come over to Bellator or whatever?" And I was like I thought. I mean, he was saying it in passing, but I was thinking like, I mean, if somebody called me, I don't know. Yeah. Like, I didn't know like Bellator is interested, you know? And then after that, I like talked to my manager about it, and I was like, "Hey, what's like, would Bellator be an option for me? Like, if I wanted to go to Bellator?" And he was like, "Yeah, I can make a call and see if they're interested." And literally, I called him that morning, and later that day, pretty much they came back with an offer that would have been better than an offer that I would have got from the UFC. Mm-hmm. And I was in a situation, you know, fighting, if people don't know, is not very lucrative if you're not, you know, in a bigger organization, you know. And I had a family at that point. I had like a son, and it was, and also when you're in like the regional scene, people don't really want to, if you're like a top prospect, people don't really want to fight you and risk their, or if they're another top prospect, they don't really want to risk in fighting, people don't really want to risk their stake or risk their record, you know. They try to protect their record, you know what I mean? So it was getting hard to get fights, you know. So so how they treated Manny, the tournament style, I feel like is really like favors me, you know. I like the tournament style of fighting because there's no politics. You just fight the next guy, the next best guy, fight the next best guy, and then their offer, you know. So they seemed very interested in me, and you know, I was very interested in them.
You know, you brought up a really good point with the tournament. You know, I took a look at the roster for the bantamweight division. Man, it is a killer's row right now.
Yeah, stacked, man.
I'm like, so number one, shout out to Sergio Pettis.
Yeah.
Currently holding that strap, beats Juan Archuleta. But I'm like, you got Khabib's cousin, you got you beat Hill, you beat Bell. Mm-hmm. You know, you beat up most of that division. I mean, who are you looking at? Like, if you want, number one, is there any way that you guys are going to possibly do $1 million tournament? Because there is such a great lineup of guys in that bantamweight division.
You know, the talk around the town before Anthony Johnson and Yoel Romero signed to Bellator, the talk around the town was at bantamweight because we have one of the deepest divisions in the league. So I would think like they would go back to that after this tournament is done. But yeah, that I think that was I heard that was the goal, but who knows? You know what I mean? But I feel like we have a deep division. They haven't done a bantamweight tournament yet, so I feel like that's a good possibility. And that was another reason why I signed, because I thought, like, okay, looks like you're signing a lot of bantamweights. If you can do that bantamweight tournament, that would be amazing. You know what I mean? That'd be amazing. That type of, you know, that environment, I feel like I thrive in, and it's fun.
Well, let's say hypothetically we don't do the tournament. Who are you looking at in the division next?
So, if I have to fight Sergio, if the organization wants me to fight Sergio, I'll probably have to fight Sergio out of just for my family. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If they compensate me I'll probably have to fight Sergio. I don't want to fight Sergio, but if we have to, me and Sergio's talked, the team has talked about it. Like if we have to fight, we're not opposed to that. But if I could, I want to fight like 2 times before the year is over. So I would love to fight like Magomedov because I see he's ahead of me, or like Patchy Mix. You know what I mean? I see he's ahead of me, or Juan Archuleta. I would love to fight like any of those guys. I feel like I called out all of those guys, but the only guy who kind of like barked back at me was the Magomedov. So that makes me want to fight the Magomedov even more. Like, okay, you think you have confidence? Okay, let's do it. You know what I mean? Let's set it up. I talked to Patchy Mix. And that was the other thing. They were at the fight or whatever. So I seen Patchy Mix and I seen James Gallagher. I'm the same person. I'm going to be the same person online that I am, in person. So I seen them, we had nobody with us. I walked up to James Gallagher. It was like before the weight cut. And I was like, hey, like what's up? And I don't know if he recognized me at first or whatever. And he was like, hey, how you doing, man? And I was like, hey, bro, we going to fight? Or, you know what I'm saying? Or you got other stuff going on. What's up? You got hurt? Like, what's going on? Or whatever.
Are you calling him out at the weigh-in?
Yeah, this wasn't like at the weigh-ins, but I was walking back from like working out before cutting weight, and he was walking to maybe do like temperature checks or something, and I was like, oh, hey, I see you, like, what's up? You know what I mean? And he was like, yeah, we'll do something, man. He kind of gave me like a little Hollywood answer, like, yeah, we'll set it up when they give me your name, we'll set it up or whatever. And I'm like, okay, but then what happened? I was like, also, like, I seen you train at Glory. Like, I know some people that train at Glory, and they told me that you're not a bad dude. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want you to take everything I say to you, like, online, like, too personally. But, like, I still want to whoop your ass. Like, I still want to fight. You know what I mean? He was like, oh, yeah, brother, we'll do it. You know what I mean? But I don't think he knew who I was, because then after the fight, he seen me again. He was like, hey, man, I ain't really know who you was before. But hey, he was like, but hey, yeah, like we can do it. Patchy didn't really impress me like you impressed me. So like let's do it or whatever. But at the same time, I still don't know if he really want to fight me. You know what I mean?
You take that as a compliment? Like, oh, I saw your fight. Like, you impressed me. Like, yeah. Is that one of those where
like, I don't really need to impress you. Like, I don't really care. I just want you to sign to fight. You know what I mean? I just want to sign to fight. And then so Patchy Mix, I seen like eating. It was after the fights. I seen he was eating, and he was sitting there eating something or whatever. And so then I walked up and I was like, yo, what's up? Like, I heard you was trying to fight Gallagher in July, but like we just fought, you know what I'm saying? So how about we fight in July or whatever? He was like, yeah, I don't know, man. If they give me your name, then yeah, I'll sign or whatever. But because that was the other thing. Patchy Mix was talking some hot shit to me online. He was like, he called me like Kevin Hart or something, and was like, yeah, like you haven't fought anybody or whatever. And I was like, all I said was, okay, you talking, you got a lot to say right now, but I know for a fact that my name came across, or I've been signed to fight you 2 times, and 2 times you said no. So you got real quiet when my name was like on a contract. You talk a lot now, but you was real quiet or whatever. So, and he was like, yeah, well, they didn't want to give you a title shot. That's the only reason I didn't fight you. But the same thing happened when it wasn't a title shot. You didn't fight me or whatever. So I came up to him and I was like, hey, what's up? Like, you trying to fight in July, or you trying to fight this summer sometime? Like, I'm trying to get another one like in before the summer, whatever. But he was like, yeah, I don't know, man. I was trying to get Gallagher, and I mean, if they give me your name, then I'll sign or whatever. But like, you know how you like when you talking to somebody and you feel like they bullshit, yeah. Like they just trying to get you out their face, pretty much. You know what I mean? Because I'm like let's do something where we can call managers right now and say, hey, we are agreeing to fight. You know what I mean? So yeah, so I don't know if that'll really happen, but the Magomedov dude seemed interested. Like, he feels like he can beat me. I feel like those other guys don't really believe that they can beat me, so it's not a good chance of them like signing to fight me.
There's 2 things I'm going to say. One, do you take what people say online personal? Like, whether it's a fighter, whether it's a fan, do you hold that? Like, do you carry that?
I don't like carry it, but I don't forget it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's not like everything you say, like, oh, like I hate you now because of something you said, but I remember that, like, if we fight, it might pop back up. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you did say this. Like, where that's at now? You know what I mean? Like, what's up now?
I was actually, and then going back, like, I was just rewatching some of the guys in your division, and the opening from, I always screw this up. I have to look at Magomedov.
Magomedov. Yep.
I was watching it, man. His debut in Bellator, he struggled at first with that wrestler, like,
yep.
And it was quick. He adjusted, but he just stays on people.
Yeah.
You like those Dagestan guys are fucking intense.
They are. Yeah.
I mean, that's a challenge.
That is. Yeah, that's a challenge I want.
You want to just go in there and just ragdoll them? Like, what you want to do?
I'm not going to ragdoll them or whatever, because I feel like and that's the other thing. I'm pretty realistic about my skill set. You know, I'm a very good wrestler. I'm not the best wrestler in the world, you know, but I'm a even better mixed martial artist because I can dictate like where we go. Like, you're good at like getting to hips and ragdogging people. I don't necessarily need to be there with you, and I have the tools to stop you or make you more uncomfortable in situations. And most of my fights go that way. Like, where I want the fight to take place is usually where the fight takes place. You know what I mean? If I want the fight to take place on the ground, it'll happen under you know what I'm saying, when I decide. You know what I mean? Just because of my wrestling, because of my body awareness, because of my my length. I can dictate that stuff. And I did that very well with Josh Hill. Josh Hill wanted the fight to be close. You know what I mean? He was very uncomfortable when the fight was
at range.
At range.
Yeah, I was going to say, I watched that fight, and I watched it real closely. Number one, I've sparred with you before, and you're fast. You're fast, and how do I put this? You're I almost want to say maniacal, because you pick your range like you're just like it's
right
one of those
outside,
where it's like you're not coming in fast, but it's one of those where it's like you got this like almost rhythm to you. Like it's one of those, like, I watch you shake your right hand, I'm like, this
he's gonna throw it.
He's gonna throw it. And all of a sudden, like, the lead hand is just going back and forth like this, and I'm not paying attention. I'm like, oh, he moved in like 3 inches on me, and all of a sudden, pop, and I'm like, oh shit, that's why I did that. But like you move in real strategically, and I was watching that, and I was like, oh, he's doing that. I was like, I'm wondering, I'm like, is he just trying to keep at range because of the fact that, like, it was one of those, you did the same thing where you're just shaking, moving forward, and I'm watching you just inch, and then pop, and then
get what I need.
And you picked your shots, and then it was later in that fight that you were starting to move in on him, where it was like you would stay range, and then you came in close, and then you were just piecing him up.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing, like. I don't know if it's the coaching of the other people, but at Raufeon Sport we have a really high IQ. We have really good coaches. You know, we have the best coaches in the world. Because our fight IQ, you can tell, like, even if you watch Raufeon and Cody Garbrandt, you know, those
I was just watching that last night. Yeah,
those alpha male guys, you know, they're really good, you know, in certain areas, but they're not. Cody Garbrandt, being a former champion, should be better at range. Like, he's really good when somebody's like stepping to him, you know, and he's in that slugfest, or when, you know, when you're in close quarters, he's really good there. He's really fast, but he's not as good when guys are right outside of where he can like slug from.
You're 1,000% right. I rewatched that when I got home last night. I was at Taylor's last night. I really didn't get a chance to really watch it, but I rewatched that fight, and Callie and I were discussing it. It was just like, you know, for as good as Cody Garbrandt is, I couldn't tell if Rob Font was that good or if Cody Garbrandt just didn't show up.
Yeah.
And it was one of those, I was like...
And that's exactly what happened with Josh Hill. Like, so Josh Thompson and Corey Anderson had like a lot to say about, like, man, Raufeon should be doing more. He should be doing more. But basically what you're saying is, this fight is boring to you because I'm beating the shit out of him without breaking a sweat. You know what I mean? I'm doing everything. I'm walking him down. I'm staying right out. He can't hit me, and I'm piecing him up. I'm landing way more shots than he's landing, and he's crumbling, and I'm not like overexerting myself. I'm not getting outside of anywhere, you know. And Scott Cushman has done an amazing job. I can't take any credit. Scott Cushman and Duke Rufus have done an amazing job on my awareness and my basics. So I'm beating this guy with basics, and your criticism is that you want me to get outside of my basics because I'm beating him up too bad and without breaking a sweat. And I can dance and talk to him at the same time. And so I must have a lot of energy. I'm being very efficient with my energy, beating the shit out of somebody. But you know what I mean? Which should be a compliment, but that you kind of like spent it into like it's a bad thing.
Yeah. You know, Corey, I know Corey. Corey's a good friend. He's married to my girlfriend's best friend, Jen. I've known Corey for a while. And it's one of those, like, Corey can talk, but he really shouldn't because he's the same guy. He's a wrestler.
That's what I was finna say. Corey, if anybody gonna talk, Corey, it ain't you, buddy. It ain't you. I'm sorry. Anytime you get outside of your, what's the name? What did happen? Like, let's look at your career.
You got knocked
Let's
out.
look at your career, okay? So don't try to tell me to do something that got you in trouble, you know? Like, no offense, I'm 16-1. I'm not doing bad. I have good coaches. I got good people around me. I think I know what I'm doing at this point. You know what I mean? So, I mean, and that's another thing. Like, I don't hate you guys. I know you got to say something. I know you got to say something online. Like, I'm not, like, super mad. But also, I get an opinion, too. You guys got opinions. I can have opinions, too. And that's my opinion. I just feel like, you know, it was kind of turned the wrong way. Like it should be a compliment. I'm beating this guy without breaking a sweat. I can dance. I can do whatever I want because I'm really good at the basics. I'm really good. And as something like I'm a wrestler. I'm a quote unquote wrestler. You know, I'm able to outpick or strike. I'm outstrike this guy who started, you know, as a mixed martial artist as a striker. So. Yeah. You know, that's kind of my take on it. I'm super proud, you know, and I can't let you guys take that away from, you know, what I did.
You got a really valid point there, and it's something I thought about before. Is that like I said, I had to go back and do my due diligence. I rewatched your fights, and I'm like, you know, for someone whose base is wrestling, man, you're good at striking. You know, and that's the other thing too is that you're fast as fuck, dude. I don't know if it's just because I'm heavier, but I'm like, it's one of those. I got hit 3 times. I was like, I thought we were homies, bro. Just gonna hand me my ass like that. Fucking put a bow on it. Like,
it's the coaches that what's the name. But that's why also I feel like I'll do very well against a lot of these guys. My fight IQ, my athleticism match with my basics. You know
you got a deep ass gas tank, man. You know, and
that's the other thing. So even with Sergio fight against Juan Archuleta, Sergio has a good gas tank, but it's how efficient he is. And that's Sergio is somebody that I pay close attention to as far as like details. I'm constantly picking Sergio's brain about like how his mindset on fighting and like how small he can make his movements or how efficient he can be with his movements. You know what I mean? Because it's like. So if I'm going through a fight and I'm doing the biggest, like, okay, so somebody's punching at me and I move the biggest move that I can, you know what I mean? That's a lot of energy, that's a lot of time, that's a lot of space that I'm wasting. So it's not I got out of the way of a punch, but I did it with a lot of extra motion that I didn't need to do. Serge is so good because he can move just enough to you to tip his nose or like really just enough. So it seems like he's faster because he's wasting way less energy than he needs to. You know what I mean? And just like he's super efficient.
That is a Kush and Duke thing, 1,000%.
All day. Kush has been slapping me in the face with the pads for a long time for me to do that type of stuff. You know what I mean? I
think back to it. Let me tell you something. Years ago, when Duke and Kush were teaching the classes together, class was in session. Man. Like it's like everything else got a little bit darker in the background. You heard angels singing, and you're like, these are two of the best minds in striking, going back and forth. And I remember, even with Lemke as well, where it's like, you know, I remember like Kush would be like, Parker, he goes, you check, like he would stop you, like, you know, afterwards when you're sparring, he's like, Parker, after you check that kick, don't put your foot back down. He's like, step back out. You're returning that kick anyway. He's like, you're not making yourself faster. What you were doing is you were taking steps out of what you know you're going to do to make yourself faster. And he's like, Parker, if you Like, what was another example where it's like, if you check one, he's like, your hand's already dangling. He's like, don't throw this hand back.
Yeah,
he's like, this is already there.
It's the fastest hand. Yeah, and that's that little stuff that's like it seems very small. It seems very small to the untrained eye,
but it's so big.
So big. Those milliseconds, that's the difference. That's the difference of, landing a strike and not landing a strike, starting a combo or not starting a combo.
Yeah, so we'll use Sergio as an example. Yeah. Like the Benavidez fight.
Yep.
He wasn't faster than him. He was just more technical.
Exactly.
And Benavidez threw so much at him, and wild.
Yeah.
And
I would agree. I would agree that Benavidez was in better shape than Sergio. He was probably stronger than Sergio, and maybe even a little faster.
But he couldn't hit him.
But he could not hit him. And he could not gas him out. Sergio just more efficient.
Yeah,
just more efficient.
He threw more volume, but he never hit him.
Exactly.
And it was one of those, like, I was nervous as I was at that fight. I was nervous as hell because I was like, I hope these judges saw what I fucking saw. I was like, I'm in the lower bowl. I'm like, I'm looking into the cage. I'm like, I can see this. I'm like, I hope you guys saw this fight.
Straight up.
Because, like, I got nervous when I went to decision.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know, man. You never know.
Let me ask.
And that was the same with Warren Archuleta. He's like throwing a lot of stuff, but nothing's
landing. He's wild, man. Yeah.
Nothing's landing. You know what I mean? So nothing's like really affecting me. You know what I mean? And he's coming forward like off of strikes and landing, you know what I mean? The more efficient strikes. So,
while we're on the topics of Serge, a lot, again, I did do a lot of my due diligence with you. The topic of Serge came up a lot before the fight. Does that bother you at all?
I've talked to Sergio.
I should be calling him Sergio. I think I might be the only one that calls him Serge.
Oh yeah, no, I call him Serge and text too. Yeah, Papa Serge. I mean, I feel like that's just the MMA game. It's a story it's a story. It's a story for them to run off of. Oh, we're teammates. Maybe we hate each other, or maybe one of them is trying to take something from the other one. So it makes good TV, so like I understand, why, why they want to, because that's like every interview that I did with Bellator, like they're like really trying to push it, me, I'm not necessarily, and that's the other thing. I'm not necessarily a guy, like I'm doing this fight stuff. From like, yeah, it's fun to me. But at the end of the day, I'm doing it to get paid for my family. You know what I mean? So, like, the legacy stuff is cool. You know what I mean? But wherever I get the biggest paycheck is usually where I'm going to go, to be honest. You know what I mean? So, like, I understand it. But at the same time, like, I'm doing what's best for my family. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where I'm at. And Sergio's a professional. I'm a professional. Like I said, we've talked about it, because it's a kind of weird thing. You know what I mean? And also, like, Sergio has also said in interviews, that, Raufeon deserves to fight for a title, like while he's holding the title, you know what I mean? Because he's a great fucking human being. Like, he's a great person.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I love Sergio.
1,000%.
Yeah.
For a guy who's as young as he is.
Man, he's mature.
Been doing this since he was, 18.
Yeah, exactly. Been beating up grown men since he was like a teenager.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And it's crazy because you see it reflective now where, he's 27, 26 or 27.
Yeah, probably 27.
27.
Yeah.
And he's probably one of the most mature 27-year-olds that you have met.
Yeah, that
you
I know.
Talk to him and you hear the influence of his brother.
Yep.
He's, how do I put this? He takes a look at the world and he can easily take a look at mistakes or other people have made and he learns from them, which a lot of people can. A lot of people have to go through it.
Yep.
And more importantly, like, man, like I was saying this, I said this to Kush a couple months back. Everyone was kind of out of town. Duke was gone, Kush was gone, and Serge and Anthony were running the pro practice. And it was crazy to me because, like, I was coming off the mats from kickboxing, and I sat down for a second. And I was thinking about it. I was like, dude, I've known Anthony since he was like 20, 21. I'm like, I've known Sergio since he was like 15. Crazy. And at this point, I'm watching him. And I'm like, him and Anthony are going over something real technical with the fight team. And I'm like, fuck, dude. I was like, I watched this kid like grow up in here. It was the same thing with little Gabriel too, where I was like, I watched this kid grow up, and I was like, I watched him take his first pro fight. And I was like, I was like, God damn, dude. I was like,
Crazy.
it's insane. And the same with Christian Rodriguez too, where it's like, I used
and
to
you see like you see the investment they made at a young age. Now, like even with sparring, like people are like, man, how do you do stuff like this? And he's able to explain it. He's got like a high IQ. He knows the why, the when, the where he's doing stuff.
Exactly.
You don't see that, especially in young fighters. You don't see that in young fighters being able to set up moves to do certain things. You know what I mean? You usually see young fighters just running into a brick wall till the brick wall breaks. You know what I mean? But he's able to navigate and make decisions based off what opponents are doing. It's amazing to see.
Both Christian and Serge have both been around where they go, they've watched people's career in their own fight career come to an end because of the fact that they've just taken shots. And Duke's a big preacher that he goes, why'd I have such a good career? I didn't take a lot of hard shots.
Longevity, man. That's
He's
what
like,
it's about.
You want to have a long career, don't get hit.
Yeah, exactly. You want to save your brain cells? Don't get hit. Exactly, man. And that's why I say we are truly blessed, because like a lot of people from Milwaukee, because I also went to Pat Militich's gym to train. I went to or to like live and train. I started with Jens Pover. So like I've been to a lot of gyms where, not saying they do it bad, but we definitely do it more efficient. We definitely do it more efficient. We definitely do it. I don't want to say better, but we kind of do it better. You know what I mean? And I've seen that. I've seen kind of the other ways of doing things, and the proof is in the pudding. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this: how did you end up at Rufus Sport? Because I'm gonna tell a quick story because it's hilarious and embarrassing. So I remember when you first started the gym a couple of years ago, we were both doing gi jiu-jitsu together, and someone was like, "Oh, this is Raufeon. He's new here." I was like, "Oh, hey, what's up, dude?" I was like, "Hey, how much do you weigh?" Like, like 145. I was like, "All right, cool, dude." I was like, "I'm not gonna put all my weight on you. I'm like 220 right now."
I remember
and you looked at me, and I was like, "No, it's cool, man. Like, whatever. We'll flow or whatever." And then again, you gift wrapped it in my ass, all 225 pounds of me, and handed it back to me. And I came off the mats, and I was like, "Hey, who the fuck is that guy?" I was trying to go easy on him.
Yeah, he just
whooped my ass like, "Hey, nice to meet you."
Yeah, I actually, so like I said, I started with Jens Pover. Jens Pover started a gym in Kearney where I was wrestling, Kearney, Nebraska. And so then the gym kind of fell out because of inactivity from like the fighters that they were trying to start gym with. So Jens offered or asked me if I wanted to move back to Iowa with him to Pat Militich's gym, MFS in Iowa. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna do the fighting thing, because that was the other thing. I could have went to like the Olympic route, and I could have like went to the Olympic Training Center because I had won nationals. I would have got a free kind of tuition and room and board there. But I decided to like go the MMA route, and so I started with Jens Pover. Then we went out to Iowa, and so at the first one of my old teammates, Josh Smith, was already out there, and he had started he had an apartment, so I was living with him at Pat Militich's gym. But Pat Militich and Jens Pover at a certain point were like off doing a lot of commentating stuff, so they weren't there as much, and it was getting to a point where like they were asking, the gym was like asking me to like teach classes, and they wanted me to teach like a striking class or whatever, but I was literally doing stuff that people would do stuff on me, and I would just copy it. I didn't know why I was doing, but I knew it hit me. I knew it worked, so I would do stuff. You know what I mean? So I didn't know why I was doing stuff. Wrestling, I know why. Why I know the wins to do things. But as far as striking, I didn't know that. Jiu-jitsu, I didn't know that. So I was like, you know what? I need to make a move somewhere where people are a little better than me. I'm not able to just rely on my wrestling, rely on that type of stuff. So yeah, so I went up to or Pat Militich told me like, hey, if two gyms I would recommend for you, Duke Rufus in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which is a couple hours away, or ATT, which is in Florida. And then my friend Josh Smith was like, oh, well, obviously we're going to Florida. Like, I'm going to Florida. So he was like, yeah, he had his mindset on Florida, the warm weather and stuff, and ATT is a big gym. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just check out MFS, you know what I mean? So me and my wife, my girlfriend at the time, we came here to Milwaukee and we tried it out. And I came at nighttime when the amateur practice was going on. And actually Daniel Wanderlei was there. And I was in the class or whatever, and I was kind of doing the same thing. I was like out wrestling people. It was on a grappling day too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But Pat Middles just told me to go there because like the striking was so good. Like I needed to be better at striking. But I went there on a grappling day, and I was like, oh, it's a grappling day. Like I'm gonna still do what I do. And so I was kind of like doing what I normally do. And then Daniel actually hopped into he was like, well, let me roll with you. Let me roll with you a couple rounds or whatever. And he like it was like a 3-minute round, and he tapped me like maybe five times in a round. Mm-hmm. And like my eyes were like, what the hell is this? Like what the hell? So I was like, you know what? Hey, I gotta go back. I gotta go back to that place because at the very least I gotta beat this Brazilian dude that beat the shit out of me. Like I gotta like inside me, I gotta, get better, you know what I mean? There. So I went back and did like a pro fight at Militich, but then I came back and I stayed to pretty much to train out of Rufus Sport. And mm-hmm. when I came up, I didn't really like tell anybody that I was like I wrestled or I was a national champion. I paid like regular tuition. I just came in and I wanted to, kind of earn my stripes and just get better, get better on my striking, get better, everywhere. And that's how I ended up at Rufus Sport.
Nice, man. Yeah, giving your guys you're rolling with a heads up that you were a national champion.
Yeah.
Would have been nice.
Yeah, it would have been nice. I didn't want to like get like special, which I don't know if I would have, but I didn't want to like get special treatment, you know what I mean? Or somebody like I don't know. I didn't know. I just felt like I just wanted to go in and be like
it's all
person,
good, man.
You know what I mean? That had to work his way up. You know what I mean? So I thought that was the best, right? But now that you think about it, now I was kind of sandbagging.
I was looking at this. I was like, oh, he's a small guy.
Yeah. I'm like, I know when you was like, yeah, I won't put your weight. I'm like, dog, it's cool, bro.
And all of a sudden, I was like, you tapped me, and I was like, oh, now you're getting all the weight. I was like, you gonna feel while I hide the tacos.
Yeah, you gonna feel it now. Yeah, for sure.
Oh man, but yeah, dude, great times, and it's to speak into the point of watching guys come up. It's been great watching you come up and get better and signing to Bellator and being successful.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Are there any goals that you have outside of a championship, personal accomplishments that you want to see for yourself over the next couple of fights, next couple of years?
I'm actually my biggest like goal is to I feel like I'm putting my family in a better spot. I got a lot of like family kind of outside of like my immediate family mm-hmm. that I want to help, so I'm looking, I've been reading a lot of like entrepreneurial type of stuff, you know what I mean? So I want to like set up stuff that are gonna like provide something for my family like after I'm gone, so mm-hmm. Whether that be businesses, whether it be financial advice and stuff for like my family outside of my immediate family. That's kind of where my head is like headed now for like what I want kind of my legacy to be in my family.
Do you see yourself still cornering more? Like, I'll use this as an example. I don't know if anyone knows this. You run our wrestling at mm-hmm. 5 p.m. on Fridays. Do you see yourself, putting a wrestling team together through Rufus Sport? Do you see yourself like doing more coaching, even though you're still fighting? Do you see yourself doing more coaching, maybe even after your career as a fighter?
Yeah, I definitely. And I don't know if you know this, I'm moving back to Houston during or just to be closer to family, like during my off season, and then mm-hmm. I'll come back up from Milwaukee during my camps. But like that's also one of my goals is to start a wrestling academy, kind of in the place around the place that I grew up. You know what mm-hmm. I mean? I feel like I didn't really know about wrestling, and wrestling has done a lot for me as far as like teaching me how to be a man, teaching me hard work, teaching me dedication and things like that. So I want to give back by giving or making a wrestling program, a wrestling academy kind of in around the area that I grew up in. And Ben Askren has also said that he's interested in helping me. Duke Rufus has also said he's interested in helping me do like a MMA affiliate thing there in the academy. So yeah, that's definitely that's probably one of my short term goals.
That'd be actually great. I don't know what the scene is for MMA in the Houston area, but you carry a name like and I'm just kind of taking a limb here. A guy like Askren, I don't know if he has a curriculum for franchising, but that's a guy that even if you're training with he's got all the knowledge in the world. And with Duke too, I know that he's franchised his system out. You have two great resources right there. And two big names that can draw people in. And technically three.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. And especially like being in where like my hometown. I think I know a lot of people there. You know what I mean? And so and that's a big thing too. I feel like wrestling has done for me, has provided me with people with knowledge. Knowledge in a bunch of different areas. You know what I mean? So. If I would have stayed kind of in the situation I was in, I wouldn't have branched out to these people with this amazing knowledge, because I'm learning, or I'm coming to find out that it's not the like, people aren't wealthy for a reason. It's wealthy because they have the knowledge behind it, or how to get or obtain things. You know what I mean? People are successful because they have the knowledge. Like Duke Rufus is successful because he has the knowledge of the of striking. You know what I mean? So I'm been very blessed because I have like people like Ben Askren, who has the knowledge to build a successful academy, the knowledge of wrestling. Duke Rufus built a successful gym, the knowledge of striking. So I'm definitely tapping into that. You know what I mean? When I start my own adventures,
you have two of the best resources. You have arguably one of the best wrestlers, best wrestling academies in the world, and one of the best striking academies in the world. Couple of questions, and then we'll wrap this up. Outside of elevating, your personal life, signing with Bellator, has anything changed for you at all? I mean, outside of the fact that like there's less stuff to worry about, but has it changed anything at all? Like, do people come up to you?
Yeah, it's actually like more than I would have thought it would happen. Because I feel like I just kind of stay in my lane and do my thing, but at grocery stores every now and then you'll see somebody and be like, hey, you that Raufeon Stots guy? And I'm like,
hell yeah.
And it's kind of cool. It's like kind of cool. I got some like fan art or fan mail and stuff, and that stuff is like it's dope. It's like a kind of icing on top of all the good things that come with Bellator, or signing to a major organization and fighting. So yeah, like by no means do I need like a security or nothing. Like it's probably happened like 5 times. You know what I mean? But it does. I was in Vegas one time and somebody came up to me and was like, Super Stots, and I'm like people, what? You know me? Like what? Like that's cool, Or like I'll see like other fighters, who I respect or see, or feel like, oh, you're really good, like reach out to me, for instance, Corey Sandhagen, who's fighting TJ Dillashaw, reached out to me for me to come out and help him out, which I feel like he's an amazing fighter. You know what I mean? So
he's crushing it over in the UFC
he's
right
crushed.
now.
He's a killer.
Who did he
so that's pretty cool.
He hit with a flying knee.
Frank.
Frank Edgar.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, that was
a killer, bro.
Like literally killer. I was like, someone check for his fucking pulse, man.
Yeah, he's a killer, bro.
Edgar got stretched.
Yeah,
fuck.
Exactly. But yeah, so that stuff is like cool to be like, pretty much like people are starting to kind of figure out or realize, that, I'm the real deal. And, it's cool to be appreciated and recognized and appreciated.
Hell yeah, man. Well, listen, man, I wanted to say this was great sitting down with you and getting to know you a lot better. Yeah. Like we know each other in the gym and stuff like
but
that.
It's like we're always in there hitting on each other.
Yeah.
Never get a chance to talk.
But this was truly great. And I was a little nervous about this because I had said something to Kelly. I was like, well, we know each other, but I'm like, we don't really know each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, this is interesting. And like I said, before we started off air, I was like, I like to keep things kind of natural.
Like,
and I feel this went really well, man. Listen, man, I'm looking forward to seeing more and more of you. And hopefully they do this tournament, get you $1 million check, man.
That'd be amazing.
Fucking,
That'd be so amazing.
Like Bellator, I'm going to put you as a co-sponsor for my gym down in Houston.
Straight up. Hey, all day. I'm repping it till I die if I get that $1 million tournament.
All right. Well, listen, man, thank you for coming on. Quick notes. This upcoming Thursday, if anyone is free and watching this, come down to Taylor's. I'm going to be doing a workout session. Not like fighting, but like DJing and stuff like that. There's some new material I want to test out. I'm going to be recording some stuff for them. So that they have stuff that they can play when I'm not around and stuff like that. So if you got some time, come down, have some drinks. Colin, Matt, and the crew will be down there slinging for you, and I'm gonna be up there playing some music for a little while, and I might just come down and just say hi and what's up to everyone. Also coming up in June, the first weekend of June, ladies and gentlemen, Milwaukee's back. The face mask ban is dropping. What? No capacity. We're getting back to partying June 1st, Milwaukee
June
County.
1st, I'm putting in the calendar.
Yeah, so June 4th, I will be making my debut back at Uncle Buck's for the first time. I want to say since September or October. And then the next night, I'll be over at Brothers. So Friday, I believe it's June 4th, I'll be at Uncle Buck's. I'm not sure where yet, but Lawrence and he'll be playing downstairs. I'll be playing upstairs. You know how the shit goes. And then the next night, I'll be over at Brothers. And Sunday, we'll be doing the podcast. Speaking of the podcast, Andy, DJ Quaddy, he'll be here next week. We'll be chopping up, talking some DJ shit, talking about life during quarantine, streamcasts, all sorts of other stuff. Big shout out to my little brother who produces this show. Be sure to follow us on the Patreon account and all of our socials, which will probably be posted at the end of this. Thank you for tuning in. Mahalo. Good day.
Nice, man.